Kinda hard to believe, but the Galaxy Tab A7 Lite came out way back in 2021, and we still don't have the newer version of this tablet in the United States yet. But now technically that you can get the Galaxy Tab A9, is the A7 Lite still worth it in 2024? Probably one of the best features of this tablet is going to be the price. When it came out, it was only about $160, but you could find that quite a bit cheaper here recently. The specs aren't going to be the greatest with only 3 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of storage, but there's also a 4 gigabyte version with 64 gigabytes of storage, so a little bit better there. And you can also expand the storage using a micro SD card as well. As far as the screen goes, it's an 8.7 inch TFT LCD display with 1340 by 800 resolution. The brightness is going to be okay for viewing indoors. I kind of wish they would have made this screen at least 1080p resolution to make things a little bit more crisp or clear. Probably just good enough quality for most things. And the size and shape of this is just about the right size for a smaller tablet. It's pretty easy to hold in one hand. You can also watch upscaled 1080p resolution for YouTube videos, SD playback quality on Netflix. I did a comparison of this and the new Galaxy Tab A9, and the screen quality is fairly close between the two. The A9 is slightly better though. You've got a 5100 milliamp hour battery, which lasted about 6 hours in my battery drain test at 100% screen brightness. If you compare this to the newer Tab A9, it's about the same battery life, so pretty average compared to other tablets I've tested. Keep in mind though, this testing is more of an extreme use, so you should get even longer battery life if you turn the screen brightness down. Performance-wise, this tablet is going to be pretty much what I would call entry level. You've got a MediaTek Helio P22 processor. The one I have here is only 3 gigabytes of RAM. Personally, I feel like I probably should have got the 4 gigabyte version. Not only is it going to be a little more powerful, but there's certain apps that require 4 gigabytes of RAM. So yeah, it's going to be a little more sluggish when compared to the newer Galaxy Tab A9, but probably still powerful enough to do most of your basic things. As far as gaming goes, you can do some light gaming on here. I feel like smaller tablets like this are just about the right size when it comes to gaming. Much easier to handle than larger 10-inch tablets. It's not going to have the best graphics or frame rates, but it can still play games like PUBG Mobile and Asphalt 9 without too much issue. Now when it comes to the software, surprisingly this just got the update to Android 14 with One UI 6.0, so it's a little different than when it first came out years ago. It's got the new style of notification shade where things are in groups now. There's also a few other small updates with the style and location of things. It also has the taskbar down at the bottom, very similar to other Samsung devices now. Good thing is you can turn that off in the settings if you don't want that to take up extra space. And then Google Discover or Samsung O left of the home screen. You've also got the Edge panel over on the side. This tablet came with Android 10 when it was first released, so I imagine this is going to be the last year of major software updates. Hopefully it'll still get security updates, but not sure how much longer. Keep in mind, you can still do app updates after that, but 4 years seems pretty good considering the specs and that this is a budget tablet. You're not going to get Samsung DeX on here. Even if it did, it probably wouldn't be able to run very smooth, but you can still connect a keyboard and mouse to do some multitasking. Just keep in mind, this is considered entry-level performance, so it's going to take a little longer for things to load, and you have to be a little more patient on a device like this, especially if you're used to flagship phones and tablets. One downside to this is you can't use the S Pen on here, so you'd have to use a capacitive stylus. Just keep in mind, it's not going to be near as good as the S Pen that comes with some other Samsung devices. The speakers on here are surprisingly louder than you would think for such a small tablet like this. Especially if you turn on Dolby Atmos, it's going to make things a little bit louder. But here's a quick sample just to give you an idea of what it sounds like. Now when it comes to cameras, it's sort of what you would expect on an entry-level tablet. You've got an 8 megapixel camera on the back, only 2 megapixel on the front. It's got up to 1080p resolution for video recording, but it's gonna struggle if you don't have perfect lighting conditions. So as you can imagine, photo and video quality isn't gonna be the best, but here's a few samples just to give you an idea of what to expect. So hopefully this video gave you some things to think about on whether the A7 Lite is still worth it in 2024. There's a couple things that would probably make me hesitate on getting this, considering it's towards the end of its software updates, and now that I've tested the newer Galaxy Tab A9. If you want a smaller tablet like this, but you want higher end specs, really the best option right now is the iPad Mini 6, because there's still not a lot of smaller tablet options. So we'll have to wait and see what Samsung comes out with, or maybe some other brands. It would even be nice to see some budget folding phone options as well.
So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.